Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, hi. I'm live now, I guess, something. So again, I have no fucking clue what it is I'm gonna do. I have absolutely no idea. Oh wait, I said fuck within the first fucking couple seconds. I can't do this anymore. Woo! Hello! Yay! Yeah, so I'm gonna do something today. I already have, I already have a build available. I already have this build currently up on. Hello, Diminished! Yo, you got here fast. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I mean, my back still fucking hurts, but I'm cracked out on some cold brew. I did some stretches, so I just don't have a good sitting. Like if I had an actual chair, I'd probably be doing a lot better. But yeah, ProcGen stuff. How is am going to do ProcGen stuff? So some graphite, yeah. Man, I could do. I could go with some. I can go with some something. I could use some fucking nicotine, dog. Ugh. Some nicotine would be great. Could really use some nicotine. That'd be awesome. I miss vaping. I miss having my stimulants. You know, elephant doses of caffeine ain't cutting it. Come on, computer. Come on, girlie, you got this. I believe in you. You may be struggling, but you ain't that bad. Ooh, yeah, I mean, yeah. Like, that's kind of a lot of the stuff that I've been thinking about with, Why am I fucking exploding, dog? Yo. Don't care about Vulkan, don't care about that, don't care about Linux memes, don't care about Samsung account, don't care about fucking mobile dashboard. Shut up. Do I look like I know what a JPEG is? All I want is a picture of a goddamn hot dog. Come on. But yeah, for tungsten, I want to have, like I want to have a lot of like good intrinsics, but I want the majority of it to be, basically based on, like libraries, right? Like I want the standard library to be something that's replaceable, right? Because I want there to be the possibility of the community writing a better standard library than myself, and it being adopted as like the new norm, right? I do feel that there's going to be a lot of collisions, a lot of kind of islands of, you know, development with tungsten, developmental islands, which is kind of a problem that I'm not super thrilled with, because then it just kind of becomes like the Linux of programming languages, and that's, you know, it has its ups and downs, right? Like it has its benefits, but it also has a lot of drawbacks. It makes having strong interplay very difficult. So that's kind of something that I'm gonna have to think about. I think it would be better if I had. I kind of feel like it would be good to have some kind of like I want the build system to be like like you do like carbide init or like tungsten init, um, and then you know tungsten add the the packages that you want. I would also really love to make it so that oh yeah, split them out. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it would be really cool if I could effectively have like a hot swappable compiler so that you can build your compiler level libraries. So for someone who like say you are a game developer, right? So every single one of your projects is going to have SDL, or like OpenGL, OpenAL, a windowing system, IMGUI, you know, uh, whatever else, Vulkan tools, some, I don't know, physics library or whatever. And it'd be really cool if you could just say, hey, these are libraries that I want to have available, quote unquote, at the compiler, right? So you just dump those into the compiler folder, the compiler libraries, and you just add that to your compiler so that anytime that you build a new project, you just immediately have access and you don't have to add that explicitly to the toolchain, right? And then the compiler will for DLL for dynamic projects, dynamically linked projects, it would either package that or have a manifest, right? That so that when you like share it or whatever, it will either include the libraries or assert or demand the libraries. And it'll just like pull them and all that stuff. I think that would be something that would be super fucking cool to do. Yeah, libraries are serious business. They are kind of a big deal. I'm not looking forward to it. Right? I'm not exactly looking forward to doing library stuff. That shit sucks. But yeah, I need to figure out ProcGen stuff, exactly how it is I'm going to do it. Right. So let's take a look at Draw-E. Also, I fixed my resolution problem. I don't know if I had already done that this morning, or if I did that after stream. I think I did it after stream. But yeah, I just made my resolution actually big enough for it to be useful. And it just so happens that now everything kind of matches up on the screens. The screens are like basically the same physical size, except for like a very small margin now. Very slightly. Yeah. Yeah, I just increased the size by 1.25, which is nice. So everything is a lot more readable now. Things actually, when they open up on screen, they actually show up on screen instead of like all the really dumb shit. So let's do yeah, so let's do this, and then let's do that. Oh, actually, what I can do is do a guideline up here. is if I have the guidelines outside, then I can also do that. I feel like I'm going way too hard with this. Seems a little bit excessive. I could just do this. Just kind of eyeball it. Especially with dividing in half, it's easy to do. So there was a procgen algorithm that I had been playing around with in the past. But the biggest thing that I want to assert is that every location is reachable. So I think what I want to do is make it so that you start off with everything being a wall. So you flood fill, you initialize the map as all wall, alright? And then you cut out the the rooms and corridors. So let's do a little bit of example gen. I think the size of this is going to give me issues though. These are going to be pretty small. It's going to be kind of hard to like erase things and stuff. But I shouldn't have to erase anything. Because I should be able to just say, hey, this whole thing is, you know, a wall. And then just go from there. Right. So okay. Background color is red. You know what? Let's do black. We haven't done black. Like it all. So, let's say that we want to start doing some cutouts, right? We want to start cutting these out. So one of the things that we could do is we could say, hey, we drop we drop situation here, right? We drop a situation here, and then another one here, and then like another one here, maybe one here, maybe one here. Right. So we have a few seeds, and then what we could do is I could just do that. That makes things a lot easier. So I can delete things a lot more directly, right? So what I could do is I could pick a random one. Well, I don't have 6. I have a D6. So let's do... Let's throw one here. Alright, because I have a D6. I mean, it also doesn't really matter. I can also do things a little bit differently. I mean, I also have a D10, which means I have a D5. Because I have a full set of metal dice, metallic dice. Yeah. Gremlin noises. I like my dice. Enough playing around with dice. Let's play around with some dice. So, ordering from top to bottom. 1. And crows. Crows like them. So we have 1. We can either go right or left. So 3, right. So let's go. Let's extend this out 1, 2, just to make sure that the parity is the same. We also didn't make sure that the parity was correct, but should be fine. All right, and then we could do another one. 1 again. Let's do. Five by 5, right? Let's do another. Not 1. Fuck, dude. 2 for 5 here. Fine. I can do right, left, top, down. Well, right, left, right, left. So that's gonna be like here. All right. And then you just kind of grow these out, right? Until you have like full, basically until you have like full coverage, or I guess I should say, delete that, delete that. Then you have like full coverage here. We can extend this all the way out. Alright. Until we have coverage. We can extend this one until you have coverage. This one until you have coverage. Alright. And then any space that's left over, you can fill in, right? So you have something like this. And then you like there's other ways of like making sure that this is a little bit more nice, right? This is just like as an example. And then you can either fuse or you can like pull back some things, right? For instance, say that we wanted to pull this one back. What we could say is we pull it back, and then instead of going out to here, we go out to here. Right? So then we have a 1 by here. And then we can connect a line here, connect a line here, connect the line here. These are fused together. This could be pulled back to here. All right. And then you have something like that, and like that. Alright. You could have something along these lines, right? So, and each time you delete one of these walls, right? Every time you delete a wall, you like number these regions, right? So we can say to like better illustrate, let's to better illustrate, let's say, you know, this is 1. Let's say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And then here we can illustrate we can illustrate, you know, this kind of thing here. Right, so we have this. So when we delete this wall, well, actually, I think we also need to fill in all these gaps. Right, we need to fill in all of these gaps. So here is also 8, and this is 9, right? So what happens when we get one of these systems in? Well, when we delete this wall, we look at its neighbors. So in this case, the left and to the right, and we set all of the cells within both of the neighbors, within both of the neighbor regions. Right, we effectively flood fill the entire system, and we set all of the cells in one. Well, we set all the cells in both to be the minimum of the two. Right? We set it to be the minimum. Of the two. So we will say, hey, this is now 1, right? This whole region is 1. And when we delete this wall, we say 1 and 2. Well, this is now a region of right. The lesser of the two is 1, right? So we have a 1 here, 1 there, 1 there. We can say we delete these two. All right, we delete this one. We take the minimum. We take the middle of. We take the minimum of that. In which case it is this, which is 6. Right. And we just kind of continue going until you only have one. Until everything boils down to the minimum ID, which is 1, and everything else is empty. All right. So yeah. I think that is the kind of idea that we can do. And I feel like it would be very easy to make a very large map. Right? It'd be fairly easy to make it pretty large. Because then what ends up happening is you end up getting a full, you know, everything gets interconnected. There is no, like, there may not be a guarantee of nice shapes, but there will be a guarantee of everything being connected. Right. Another way of doing it is you do a... I think actually the easiest way of doing it would be that you build a maze first. And then you just cut a... And you just cut a... and just start cutting rooms out of it. Out of the maze. At random. Because then you know for a fact that there will be no... Alright, because then you know that there is no... There will be no orphans, there'll be no... You know, there'll be no orphaned rooms or anything like that. Rooms may have a bunch of exits and entrances and stuff, which I don't know if I'm okay with or not. Like... Because it might be better to... Because, like, the data structure is going to be kind of a pain in the ass to figure out, right? The data structure is going to be kind of a pain in the ass. Right? Like, I don't know... Because, like, I want... Well, I mean, it would be... What does the, What does that map look like? Hmm. So interesting. So in all honesty, you can, because I want there to be corridors and stuff. Because I know that I want there to be corridors and stuff, right? But not necessarily maze-like structures. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. I can place the rooms, expand the rooms until they effectively just fill the space. Right. Make them space-filling rooms. Right. So I just assign a random set of 3x3 seeds, basically. Start and end, or not do that, right? Basically, I have the... What I can do is I can have a one-dimensional array. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. This is actually kind of interesting, right? So we can... Because one of the things that we could do... Right, one of the things that we can do is I think I could do a bit of gen map, right? So what I can do, right, is I can make it. So the first thing is we want to structure. We want a singular list. Want a singular list of all the stuff. So it would be nice if there was like a set, right? I can. I don't know if I can get a sparse. If I can pull from a sparse set, right? Like, because if I can pull from a sparse, because like conceptually, all I need is a list of the because like conceptually, all that I need is a list of the whatchamacallits. So because Mm. Interesting, interesting, interesting. So, uh, basically, because like the biggest problem is going to be. Hello, welcome, Arthur. So, the biggest problem is going to be maintaining a dense set, right? Well, I mean, not necessarily. So whenever I remove something from a set, whenever I remove something from an array, I can just pull from the last element, and like I delete a given element and then I replace it with the last element in the array. And I can do that very, very quickly and efficiently. That means it's an O of 1 removal. Indexing into the array, especially for random, is O of 1. Iterating over the entire array is the most optimal that it can be, which is O of n. So we have all of those. The only issue is that we can't necessarily backtrace. So the backtrace situation is a bit of a problem. Because I can't do... Because the moment that I start removing elements, it's going to get all muddled. Well... Which means when we have the array, right? And the oh, yeah, we have two arrays. Right. Well, do we really need two arrays? Because you can have effectively an index of the data. Like, it makes it kind of difficult, right? Because what we want is whenever information is updated. Because what we want is a double index system, right? We have one array, which is the 2D location into the map. We have a map of 2D locations into one-dimensional. We then have the one-dimensional array, which then stores the two-dimensional index. So we have a double reference. Now the one-dimensional array is maintained to be dense. A dense packing of two-dimensional indices. Right. And that's what we pull from. That's what we take a random element from. Right. Now, because we can have a two-dimensional array of indices, and like that's where all the logic goes. So we want to, like, the first thing that we do is we build these two we build these two maps. And this should be pretty fast, right? Like, it should run just fine on even my machine. And that is something else that I make sure that I can do, is have efficient decent rendering speeds on even this piece of shit. Again, it's unlikely that it's actually going to be necessary, but I'm pretty much going to do it anyway. So there is a little bit of a problem. I'm not so sure I ever figured this out. Because I don't... the issue is growing the room, right? Because I need to make sure that it's going to be valid. Alright. And one way of doing that I mean, I could literally just set them to false. Or just delete the freaking entries. Because I don't really care about it maintaining an array, per se. Right? Because it's Lua, you can just index them to shit. However the hell you want. Like, there doesn't need to be any data. If you do, because if you do index 1 and then index 1,000, and then you try and look into index 100, you're gonna throw it. Right? To kind of prove a point, right? You can do local, I don't have, yeah, no, I don't have, I also don't have a Discord server. I have a matrix, though. I also don't have any commands set up either. I need to do that. Is equal to thing. Because I can do tester 1 is equal to 47, and then tester 1,000 is equal to 28. And then I can do print tester. No, that sucks. No, yeah. Yeah, that's what it does. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people. I mean, I know a lot of like really really small streamers that have servers and stuff. They're nice to have. They are always better to build early. Like that's why I have a Matrix server up and running. I just don't really look at Matrix all that much right now. So there is that. I don't know if I want to put forth the effort to build like a whole Discord server because I still I'm still fully I will be dropping Discord entirely by like the end of the year, and the not so terribly distant future. There's just like some people that I want to like make sure that I can stay in touch with, things like that. Before I fully like drop Discord. I also want to give Matrix a little bit, like Matrix and Element, like a little bit longer to mature. Mostly for voice calls, because, yeah, like Discord was always mid. It was just less shit than TeamSpeak and fucking Skype. As soon as like Microsoft took over Skype, Skype turned to shit. But right now, Discord has the most, Discord just has the most mature voice protocols, right? So the actual voice connection is the most stable through Discord right now. So until Matrix and by extension Element and the other Matrix servers are able to catch up, then Discord is basically the only one that's actually usable for like voice calls and shit, and like screen sharing and a bunch of other features that I still use it for. Um, so there's that, and it also depends on whether or not I'm gonna be, because if I can find like a job and get my own place, then the main person that I screen share and make voice calls with, outside of Arthur, is like my wife. And if I have my own place, then my wife and I can be living together, and I don't need Discord. Asterisk. I'm sure there's other reasons for it. I mean, fair. Fair. Yeah. It's just like I don't know how. And it's also really difficult for me to find out if, like how good or bad Element actually is, because I have a fucking dog shit cell phone and a dog shit fucking computer. So, voice processing takes a lot of processing power. So it's very, very difficult to actually benchmark that. So I don't know how good it actually is, because the only thing that I have to work with are, an old phone and an even older fucking laptop. So it's really hard for me to really, like, in this moment, it's hard for me to justify fully dropping this as much as I want. So I'm just kind of sitting back and waiting to see if it matures or not. And just kind of hoping that it does. Jesus fucking Christ. Stop it. Get some help. I don't want you being at 93 degrees. So that's something I could do there. The next step up is going to be building the fucking map. So what are going to be the steps, right? Conceptually, what are the steps? I need to so for one, I need to prop up my laptop so I can get some airflow and breathe and stop burning up. So, step one, define map size. Step two, we allocate you could make a test 3D game, but I keep it a test, like actually a test, like actually keep it a test, okay, actually keep it a test. Allocate buffer 3. Yeah, sure. Bugs. I have people that I'm waiting on. I'm trying. 10 hacks next. Okay. Oh. God damn. Um. So. That helps. That helps quite a bit. So we want to define the map size. We want to then allocate the image buffer. The image media buffer. Um, like that's actually allocating the space on the graphics card, right? Because you need to say, hey, I'm going to be using this much space. Alright, I'm going to be using this much space for an image. Set aside the memory space for it. Cool. Then we want to depending on the size of the map. No, I mean this is going to be like a handful of bytes, right? Like, this is going to be tiny. It's really not going to be that big. Um, hmm. So if so, we need to have the double map, the bidirectional map, because the biggest issue that I'm going to have because I could do if the biggest issue I'm going to have is detecting. Because I'm going to need to sweep through twice. So no matter what, I'm going to have to do what exactly? Am I going to have to? I feel like I'm going to have to. I feel like I'm going to be required to. And also, like, how do I find out how many entrances and exits I have? Do I want to maintain 2 entrances, 2 exits? Or 2 boundary crossings? 2 edges. Do I want to demand 2 edges per room? Right? Like, do I actually want to demand that? And how do I make sure that I'm not I can't. I can't necessarily guarantee that it's going to. I can't exactly guarantee loops. I can't exactly guarantee. I mean, I can guarantee full connectivity, right? There's just a high probability of really wonky level design because it's project. Alright. So wonky. So wonky ass, Garbo is probably going to be a thing. Because the fact that, like, I can't guarantee good level design. I mean, I could, but it'll take forever for the levels to generate. And I want the level generation to be pretty slow. Because I basically have to build an entire level within a single frame of animation, so that you don't notice it when the frame rate drops and shit. But like also, it's going to be very difficult to manage this entirely within Lua. Like, Lua is pretty strong, Lua is pretty fast, but OpenGL 2.1 is mostly software. Is mostly software rendering. Very little of it is actually hardware rendering, from what I understand. Right? Like, OpenGL 2.1 is... Yeah, I need to ask. So, performance, but rather with implementation. Yeah. Um. Ah! Because I don't know. However, users often encounter performance issues due to specific pitfalls and how shaders are implemented, handled, and drawn within the OTD framework. Primary reason for shader performance struggling is excessive shader switching, draw calls. I don't do that. Comparison framework bottleneck. I don't use that. Applying shaders to non-textured objects. Circles, line, rectangles because those shapes lack texture data. Using meshes which support texture coordinates is necessary, but sometimes it's used. Yeah, but if I'm only doing one. Right. Because I'm doing, yeah, there's some things I could do that will drastically increase the performance if I so choose. Alright. So I can and will be looking into that at some point. Right, because like right now I have this, and this is going to be at like half a frame per second or some shit. Alright, like I'm gonna probably end up in a fucking wall at this point. You have to get pretty deep into a wall for it to actually affect. Wait, what? Monday. Like, this is really, really chuggy. Like, this runs like fucking dog shit, but like, that's fine, I guess. Like, I don't necessarily need to be doing, like, there's a lot of really good graphics optimizations that I could be using that I can't do easily with Love. Right? So these are things to keep in mind. The OpenGL compiler does handle things very, very, very cleanly and nicely. So that is something to keep in mind, right? So this smaller window works just fine. I'm happy with that. Fucking eyeballs, dog! Eyes are burning. Ah, my eyeballs. Fucking hell, dude. Burning so goddamn bad. Yeah. I mean, I would. Just keeping it as a texting, as a test game is the smart thing to do.
Time to stretch.
Yeah. It's time to stretch. Everybody stretch. Do your stretches. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, hydrate. Ugh. Okay. Well, mm. Okay. Tamagotchi, yeah. You know why Tamagotchi, how Tamagotchi got its name? Because I think I do. Or at least I have a working. I have a working. Alright. So we have the. Yeah, I feel. Yeah, how am I going to? Because I feel like I need to. Because I think I need to do Alright, because I think I need to do graphics, draw E, right? Because I think well, I think kind of, because Tamagotchi is, I think Tamagotchi is a portmanteau of, well, Tamagotchi is like a play on the Japanese word for friend, which is Tomogachi. So I think it's like a play on that. But so if I have, so how the fuck do you write Tomogachi? Well, to is, or that. I think it's like that. To, what is mo? I mean, I could do. Oh, okay. That's cool. That's good to know. Yeah, to, well, Moo is... The fuck is Mo? I can read it if I see it. Cause like, I don't know. I need to practice my Japanese more. I can do it in there we go. Tamagotchi. That's what it looks like. Yeah, so that's right, it's yeah, Tamagotchi. But anyway, so we have basically what we want. Two cards combined into one, and you randomly get one or the other, or even both effects off based on random chance. I mean, so the way that tarot cards should work is that when you shuffle them, when they are shuffled, like you sweep through the deck, you sweep through the tarot cards, and then you shuffle them in either right side up or upside down. Right, you flip them. So you like behind the scenes, you're replacing them with one card or another, with one variant or the other, and then you shuffle them in. Tarot style playing cards, like trading cards, would be like a tarot style trading card game, a trading card game that implements the tarot orientation would be really interesting. But it would also be very difficult to it'd be really difficult to judge and govern, right? Because you would practically have to play with an open hand, right? So the strategy would have to be like in plain sight kind of thing, which I don't know if that's something that you could really do. Like, I'm sure it is, but I don't know. It'd be kind of hard to do. So here what we have is because we have like these things, right? So if you say want to remove this one, yeah. Yeah, oriented cards is something that's not trivial to solve in a card game. So say I want to go from here and remove all the way up to here, right? So I basically flag these as removed, and as I do that, I build a list of removed items, and then if that completely, as long as they do exist, right? So I have, in if map dat at index x y then remove then add then because I'd have a local removal. All right. Removal that, and then it'd be removal shuffling for no reason effects actually do shit. Yeah. Well, actually, it would be removal, removal, is equal to map dat else yeah, map dat at x y else removal actually removal no, right, and this is like a break. And right. Because up here it is I like drawy. There's a lot of things I don't like. I don't like, you know, the fact that I can't. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of fucking mad at myself. So we have a 4 x equals x1 x2 do for why are you mad at yourself? y1 y2 do local removal equals I mean fair. If map data at x y then removal equals map dat at x y else removal. Well, actually, else break end else break and Else break end. Well, actually, this part needs to be up here, right? Right. This part needs to be up here. Yeah, fair. Yeah, local removal is equal to that, and then break. Oh, shit. I mean... Yeah. Okay, so, okay. Um... Yeah. Because here it is, equals nil, and then end, right? And then... I mean, it's fine. I would recommend not, because there's this little thing called scope creep that you, didn't really, it didn't exactly creep, it, fucking exploded. Fucking sprinted on that scope. Meanwhile, Otter's all like, yeah, here's just like really small, quality of life feature that I think would do really good, but I don't want you to blow scope or anything. Meanwhile, you're all like, what if I just did all of the things? I mean, you never blow scope at all. You didn't blow scope in, by starting or anything. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay, so if removal, then for I equals 1, hash removal do Alright, yeah, it's like remove map that. At index. It's basically remove conceptually this is what we're doing. This is conceptually what we want to do. So All right. And this should be. This should be a 1. Just to be a little bit more concise. So this is basically what it's gonna look like. Because we need to just erase them out of the thing, right? So we can either set to... Yeah, because like there's if we're removing the index, then we can index into the one-dimensional, into the dense array, do these swap with end and decrement. But like part of that is cleaning up the 2D map. Alright. So, because we can like go back and forth, right? Because we know the index, we could go into that index, look it up, see that it's a one-dimensional index, back search back into the two-dimensional, that remove that entry, right? And it'd be good, right? Yeah. So there's a few different ways that we could do that. We could either do a double index, or it could just be a map, or it could just be a table with a quote unquote X and then Y, right? Index by using an array. So as it's being, like as it's running, it'll end up clearing its own memory. Right? And again, like these are going to be very, very small. I also don't really know exactly how long I'm going to be streaming for tonight. I don't know, for some reason just today's been a rough day. So, from, just between mental health and physical health, and just a few other things, I don't really know how long I'm going to be streaming for, but I wanted to not break my own streak of streaming every day, every night, because it has been very helpful. It's been really great. It's been giving me like a sense of purpose. It's been pushing me to do better, think about my own needs between hygiene and sleep and feeding myself and getting into a routine and all that stuff. So it has been good. It's been rough. it's been a lot. Sure, but it has been quite quite helpful. And I get to like hang out with you guys, and that's been super sick. That's been super sweet. You know, I'm sure like it would also be nice to hang out with, you know, the wife more and shit. But like our schedules are all kind of fucked up and not very well synced with one another, which kind of sucks. But you know, it is what it is. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I mean, I do want to. I'd like to go for at least like 2 hours or something, which, you know, only gives me like another 15 minutes or so. Kind of figuring out the underlying ideology of what it is that I want to do with this. I think I wanted to go until I at least have that down, like the higher level, like the top level, the top level sequence is something that I want to figure out. I want to figure out the top level sequence to see, you know, how the proc gen is actually going to work, and then that way, starting tomorrow, right, I can work on. I can start working on actual implementation, right? So I want to get the planning done today. I want to get the planning done. So yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So one of the okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why. Um, What? Ah, interesting. Also. full, full stats. Um, yeah. Yeah, I could do a bunch of different things like alphanumeric, full width alphanumeric, things like that, etc. Aesthetic. I can do things for the aesthetics if I wanted to. Full width, etc. Which I think is technically basically the same as just putting space through everything. But now I can do it properly. So I'm going to start using that all over. Yay for learning Japanese. Genki desu ka? Genki desu. Genki desu. Yeah. So yeah. Atrian Odyssey 3? Okay, I got this. Allocates removal buffer. Well, actually, no. It is allocate 2D to index buffer. Allocate index to 2D buffer. 5. Um, place random 5 grow from seeds at random random. Hmm. Um, X regions. I mean, yeah. The like you're designing a game. You're you're designing a card game as if it was already a well-established and late-stage card game, as partly as a parody of real-world card games. So like that's yeah. So you pretty much are, making a card game with yeah. Um, yeah, I think um, I think I'm gonna be done. Let's see if anyone's. Oh, actually, yeah. Yeah, let's give him some. Let me give him some. Someone I've known for a lot longer than I'd like to admit. Yeah, we've known each other for like a decade, if not longer, like 12 years or something. Kind of on and off, but oh. Well, sad face. Well then, never mind. But, yeah, I'm gonna, yeah, I'm gonna be done. Thank you guys for popping in, saying hi, um, being here. It's always nice having you guys. Just kind of not having a good time right now, so, um, you know, it happens. We have our good days, we have our bad days. I have a good outline of what it is that I'm gonna end up doing. I have things involved. Yeah. I don't know if Otter might be reviewing Kern tomorrow. We'll see. I forgot to submit it through the Doobly Jam, through the Doobly Doo, on his channel. So I don't know if I still can or not. But yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, I mean I'll try. I'll try. I'll try and I don't know, do something. Kind of wish I had some spaghetti. If I had spaghetti, that'd make me feel good. That'd perk me up. But I don't think we have any pasta. We're also completely out of lasagna, which also sucks. I might have some cottage cheese. I know it's my grandma's cottage cheese, but she's out of town for a week. And I wouldn't want it to go bad. And having like a serving's not gonna. That's not gonna be a big deal. So, having a serving of cottage cheese. I may like add some sugar to it or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Yeah, thank you guys for coming and saying hi and watching me slowly lose my goddamn mind. Oh,